Dan said, my name's Tommy Zers. I'm a technical services veterinarian with Merck Animal Health. I also serve as our director of drug safety for the food animal business across the U.S. Merck Animal Health is a proud sponsor of Dairy Strong Meeting Day, so we're very grateful to be here. And keep it in line with the people in our industry are what makes this thing go. I live in Hudson, Wisconsin, so I'm part of the Wisconsin dairy business. And our sales reps, Jeannie Bishop is in Watertown, Shane Sorg is in Spring Green, and Dan Bloomberg lives in Hudson. So we have a lot of Merck representation within the state. On behalf of Merck Animal Health, I'd like to welcome you to this afternoon's panel presentation, Home Through the Lens of a Latino Immigrant. This panel will be moderated by Cody Heller. Cody Heller owns and is CEO of Heller Farm Incorporated in Alma Center, Wisconsin. Heller Farm is a 1,500 cow dairy with 5,500 acres of crops. Cody manages the day-to-day operations of the dairy and its methane digester. Moreover, Cody is the CEO of Central Wisconsin Ag Services. Central Wisconsin Ag Services is a company with focus on new generation of veterinary care and consulting. Central Wisconsin Ag Services specializes in dairy cow veterinary care, dairy nutrition, milk quality, and labor management. Cody graduated from UW-Madison in 2007 with a degree in agricultural business management. More recently, Cody has worked with the UW-LaCrosse Center for Business to generate labor management tools to help curb labor management issues in the dairy industry. Cody currently resides in Alma Center with his wife Majesta and his daughter Jessity, and as I understand, one more on the way. Congratulations. Please help me in welcoming Cody and our panelists here today.
Thank you, Tommy, and welcome back from lunch. Hope everybody had a good meal. And thanks again for attending the Dairy Strong event. It's a great honor and privilege to be up here today to focus on a major challenge that our industry faces, and that is we really work hard to, within our dairies, to work with our Hispanic laborers and cultivate relationships with that. And today's goal is to expound more on that culture, get a better understanding of culturally where they're coming from. And as we do that, we'll look through 3 different individuals that all came to this country or born here differently, and see what their family values, their core values are all about, and part of their journey. So with that being said, first we have Joaquin Vazquez. He is the herd manager at Vir-Clar Farms. He's 28 years old. His parents brought him to the U.S. in 2002 at the age of 13 years old. He's been working in the dairy industry for 11 years, and for the last 6 he has worked at Vir-Clar in Fond du Lac. Vir-Clar has grown from 12 cows in 1949 to 1,800 cows today, and includes both family members and employees. Joaquin has been married for 10 years and has three children. Four children, 3 daughters and a recent son. Secondly, Ricardo Jaime. I'm supposed to be using my slides. Ricardo Jaime was born in Black River Falls, Wisconsin, from a family of immigrants. Ricardo's immediate family members were all born in Mexico. He has 9 older siblings, 2 sisters, and 7 brothers. He graduated from Lincoln High School last year and is attending UW-LaCrosse, majoring in accounting with a minor in finance. Ricardo's father has worked at Heller Farms for 17 years and got him involved on the dairy at a young age. Throughout the years, he's gained a plethora of experience with machinery and started working at Heller Farms at age 14 years old. And lastly, oops, did I miss Nacho? Ignacio Nacho Escamilla works for Heller Farms, has been a herdsman, and he's also a consultant at Central Wisconsin Ag Services. Most of his involvement in CWAS comes in the form of translation. He has, outside of work, he has his wife, Patty, and they have 6 children, and they do live in Alma Center, Wisconsin. Correct. So without further ado, we're going to get into the panel. We're going to discuss a lot of questions pertaining to culture, and please, at any time, I welcome, if anybody's got a question, please raise your hand. If I don't see you, hopefully some of the staff around will see it. I have no issue. I'd like you to interject any time and ask any of these gentlemen any of the questions. First, starting off with you, Joaquin. Can you tell a little bit of your story about how you came to this country, how you got here, and how you started your family here?
Sure. So I was about 13 years old. I really didn't have an option to come to the U.S. My parents brought me to the U.S. My dad used to run a pineapple business, and he also had a small farm, about 30 cows. Unfortunately, things didn't work out for him and ended up bringing us to the U.S. for a better life. I started high school about 2002, graduated in 2006, and during the high school period, that's where I always tell my wife the first day that I walked into the classroom, she was kind of sitting in front of me, and we kind of had this look, and I'm like, ever since then, that was it. So anyway, she graduated a year previous to me, and then I graduated. I started working in the dairy industry right away. Worked at a different facility for 5 years. Moved to Vir-Clar farms for the rest of the time where I'm current now. So 4 kids, 6, 4, 3, and newborn. So we got our hands full for quite a bit of time. There's never a dull moment at home. So.
Thank you. Nacho, could you please tell the story of how you came to this country?
Yes. I came to the United States in 1992, illegal, and then came to Dallas. I was in Dallas for some time, went over to Pennsylvania and worked in a horse farm for 2 years, and then from there I went to Florida, and then Indiana, and that's where I met my wife in Indiana. We got engaged, got married there, and moved to Wisconsin in 1995. That was when I started working for Heller's Farm. And during that year, in 95, I also became legal. I got my residence in 95, and 2010, I got my citizenship, so. And it's, we have 6 kids. I got one in college right now. One got done with college, he's already working. And the other one is going to River Falls for vet school. And it's, I found it easier in the United States to raise kids. There's a lot more stuff that you can help them with. In Mexico, I didn't have the opportunity. I only went to school for 6 years, and over here, you can help you kids. You can send them to school. They can go to college, and I just think it's a lot more opportunities for them when they become an adult. That's why we're here, and I don't think we're gonna move back until all the kids are grown up and out of the house. Well, that's what we think sometimes, and sometime in the future we'll go back to Mexico, but not for now.
In retirement.
And retirement, yes.
Thank you, Nacho. Ricardo was born in this country, which made him a citizen immediately. Ricardo, can you tell your family story, how they came to be here?
My father, he came here he's 64 right now. He came here at the age of probably 23, 24. He worked down in North Carolina, parts of Texas. He's been all around the U.S. During the Reagan years, in the Reagan administration, he applied for the visas and residencies of the rest of my family, which all of my other siblings and my mom were born in Mexico. So he applied for the residency for them. He was able to get them over here in '96. I was born in Black River Falls in '97, and ever since then, it's just I grew up here, and my family's just been branching out to newer things. They started in Auburn working in the agricultural field. Now, three of my brothers started a transportation company called J Brothers Inc. And two of my other brothers work for the same farm, Heller Farms. One of them welds, and the other one drives truck. And my dad is still not thinking of retirement. He, for his age, he's very energetic. He is still working there. He's going for his 18th year there now.
Thank you, Ricardo. So there's three individuals with three completely different backgrounds and three different family units, all tied together by this industry. I think that's the most important thing as an industry to understand, that every Hispanic family has a different story. And one of the important things we look at is to try to connect ourselves to that family, understand that family dynamic. With that being stated, Joaquin and Nacho, you guys both immigrated here from Mexico. What motivated you, Joaquin, to leave Mexico? And then to speak to what happened with your father. To give an idea of what the situation is like down there.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, Mexico is a very beautiful country. It's been a lot of violence, and you know, that's making things harder in Mexico. That's creating people to want to come to a better country, and that's why we get a lot of immigrants, because they're pretty much, in other words, running away from the violence. You know, a few years ago, so my mom and dad brought me to the U.S. a while back. They had a vision, you know, they were going to come work in the U.S. for, you know, a period of time. It was 5 years that they were here. You know, very hard for them to kind of readjust, you know, 45, my dad was almost 50 years old, and, you know, so the lifestyle was a dramatic change for them. So they worked here for 5 years, they had their own vision, they went back. My dad started his business again, pineapple business. That was what he loved, you know, pineapples and working with the cows. He started his business, he ran it for a few years, and then all of a sudden one day we get a phone call that my father was kidnapped by the drug cartels. It was a very difficult time for us, especially because, you know, if you knew my dad, you knew that, you know, he was a pretty hardworking guy, and, you know, he would take his shirt off for anybody. So asked for, you know, a ridiculous amount of money, which we didn't have. We were able to get together some money, send it back, and unfortunately, you know, even though we gave some money to the cartels, you know, they ended up murdering my dad. So, you know, that was very hard for the family, and, you know, that's pretty much what. I don't want to go back, you know, that's I'm so afraid to go back that, you know, unfortunately, like I said, Mexico is a beautiful country, but things aren't looking so good right now.
So the violence is obviously one major issue. If I could have the slide again, AV. I'd like to show, I know on Nacho's picture, Nacho, you can speak to the living conditions in Mexico. That's the house you left.
That's the house that I grew up when I was down in Mexico. It was 10 brothers, my dad and my mom, and we had 2 little houses, and that's where we lived when we were down there. We always had something to eat, but it was hard. I started working, helping my dad when I was 6 years old. I used to miss school sometimes because he needed help, and I had to go help him. And it was just hard raising that big a family, so I was forced to come to the United States at the age of 70 years old, 60, 70 years old. First time I came to the United States. It wasn't easy for me, it was hard in the beginning because it's different language. Like it was really hard, it was almost impossible for me to communicate with people, and back then, you know, wherever you work, work, you had to speak English, or you weren't there for that long, and that was really hard for me to start. But once I moved to another place where I had I learned some English and I was better, and then I was okay. But yeah, the first 2 years are hard. First 2-3 years is really hard in the United States, especially when you don't have no family here, when you're by yourself. It is hard, but you can. Anybody goes to struggles like that when they come to the United States, but right now it's, I do it again, but it was hard.
So
It pays off, I would say.
So I think everybody in this room understands, and we understand the social issues that we have, or that Mexico has, and the social reasons why all your families are in this country, obviously to feed their families. One of the challenges that our industry's had, and it was demonstrated with Day with All Latinos here a year ago, is sometimes we have a disconnect between the cultural assimilation between the Hispanics or the Mexican workers that we have on our farm, and sometimes the ownership and the overlying structure. So the idea for some of this panel was to get a view from where you guys came from, why, and as we're going to proceed here, talk about some of the things that us as employers can do to help bridge some of those cultural gaps and some of the gaps in the community. Okay, so we'd like to speak a little bit to what do you guys see as some of the biggest challenges for employers employing Hispanics? Joaquin, can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest challenge is the language barrier. I was fortunate enough to come at a younger age, so it was a little easier, so to speak, for me to learn. Like Nacho said, it was in the first 2 years it was awful because I was in a high school where we had 500 kids and about 5 Hispanics, so I really didn't want to just be the Hispanic group. I wanted to socialize, and I was able to learn my English and be bilingual. That's kind of a key. The key for success, because you have to be able to communicate with your boss. I think you have to build a relationship with your boss. There is going to be a relationship with your boss. The boss has to get to know you, know about your family, make you feel comfortable, and build that relationship. But like I said, you can't. It's harder to do that when you don't speak the language.
Okay, was it intimidating when you first came here and you didn't speak much English? Was it intimidating to try to talk to the owners? And if it was, how did you get over that? How did you cross that hurdle? It was obviously hard to talk to owners and managers if they didn't speak English. Was it, number one, intimidating, somewhat scary to do so? And number two, what as owners can we do to try to help make that easier for our staff that doesn't speak English? You want to answer that? I want Nacho and Ricardo to talk.
Yeah, I think first of all, it is a little intimidating because you want to be able to talk to them, to communicate with them, but you also want to be able to understand what they're saying. For instance, if he tells you, okay, let's do this during our routine, you want to be able to talk to them, but in the back of your mind, you're thinking, okay, I really want to understand because I don't want to get it wrong, and make them mad. So that's the intimidating part of it. Where as far as my experience has been, my employer, he's worked with Hispanics for a while, so he learns. He's learned some Spanish, so it's nice for me to see that he's trying to communicate with you by learning Spanish, talking to you in Spanish. That kind of makes you feel a little more comfortable and not so tense, so to speak.
Ricardo, you have some thoughts, and we'll go to Nacho.
I would just like to say that my family and I have been very fortunate to have great bosses at where we work, and if you were to ask my dad anything about his boss, Blake Keller, he has nothing but good things to say about him, and that comes with, for obvious reasons. The two main reasons is that my dad, even up to now, he's around, like I said, 64, and he doesn't know much English. He can barely get by with it. And when he first started working here, or with them, there weren't, well, his English lacked more than
He didn't speak any.
And Blake, he always told me that Blake was very patient with them and accepting of them, and that for him meant a lot coming here. And that was probably the first job where he didn't have any real translator that you could trust. There were no many people there. He had previously had been working at a nursery, tree farm, and there it was a big community of Hispanics there, so he didn't really need or felt the need to learn the English for work. And he always told me it was very, very lucky to have found the job that he's in now, and he's very happy there.
Thank you, Ricardo. Nacho, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's like I say, for me it was really hard when I first came to the United States, and that was the language. The language is the most important thing, to communicate with your boss, with other people that you work with. When I started working for Blake in 1995, he knows he won't let me lie. I speak probably 3 words in English, 3 or 4 words, and that was it. So it was hard because I was like one of the first Mexicans to start working there. Right now we have only 25 people between milking and doing field work and all the stuff. But back then it was pretty much just me, and then his dad started 3 or 4 years after me there. But yeah, language, I think the language is probably the hardest thing.
Nacho, what are some of the things you've done consulting-wise on dairies to help bridge that communication gap between those employees and employers?
That's, I think, trust. You have to trust your employees a little more, and I know that's hard for some farmers, but I think if you give them trust and you trust them, they'll get, they'll do better. Because I've been in some farmers where they have issues, and not only communication issues, but they have other issues. And I went into this farm 6 months ago. They had 6 employees, and they couldn't get them to do what they want, and they had problems, talking to them and everything. So I walk in there, and the guy told me, I don't know what I can do anymore because I'm having all these problems, and I don't know what to do. He said, help me out, do something. I went and talked to the employees, meet with the employees, and talked to all of them, and tell them why things are going good here, why there's these problems here. And that one guy told me, he said, well, we don't give no respect in here. They don't respect us. They don't, they expect to do their work, but they don't, they just come and holler or say things. And then he says, we're not happy, and they were having issues with employees, keeping employees in there. So I work with employees first, and then I talk to the guy, and I tell them, I says, you have any of your 6 employees you have in there, you have any of them that you can trust? Yeah, but the one that I trust, it doesn't speak no English. I says, it don't matter. I says, if he doesn't speak English, you trust him. So let him deal with the rest of the guys. Let him work in there. Let him give their schedule. And it took me probably 3 months in that farm. And the farm right now, the guy gets along with everybody, even though some of them don't speak the language. But he trusts his employees. He let them work. And right now, they're doing really well. They went from having 400 cell count to 150, 130 right now. They're running in there, and the employees are happy, the boss is happy, and that's something I always tell the people when I run the farms, when I work with people, and I tell them, if you want him to respect you, or you have to do a good job, you have to do good work, you have to listen to them, because they are the ones that pay you or that feed your family. So you guys have to do a good job, and the longer you do a good job and do everything good, they're going to be happy. And so far, I have been in a number of farms in the last couple of years, and I have my challenges, but so far on most places I went, they turn around.
So the common theme is a trust issue. Trust is reciprocal. So what I've heard from all of you is your employers gave you room to trust them so they could trust you. And that it was a two-way street. And that seems to be the common theme coming out of that. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a lot of it. That's like some people don't. I've been in farms where people still don't trust employees to dry up a cow, to vaccinate a cow, to breed a cow, to do that. Right now it's getting better, but before it was like there's still like I have to dry up the cow because I have to make sure I'm going to do it right. I don't want to screw it up or have a hot tank or something. And it happens. You have to have UBS person doing something, but you have to trust them to do it. And like say, I was in a different farm where there was people that were breeding. He had a guy that was breeding cows, and he says, I talked to the guy. He says, he's really good. He does an excellent job in breeding cows and this and that, but he needs to do a little more. I want him to do other things. A lot of times when you work with Hispanics and you tell somebody, I would like you to learn something, and for the most part, you're gonna say like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's too hard or something. And we got people in the farm, like if you tell, I want to teach you how to breed cows or something, oh no, that's impossible. I don't want to do that. I'd rather milk cows. That's easier, and But you go through a lot of people in the farms that you want them to learn more stuff, to do more stuff, to be more responsible, more in charge of the farm and everything. And a lot of times you get like, oh, for me to be responsible to run the farm, it was a challenge when I started doing it, and that's what I see for other people. They don't want to take that challenge. They don't want to take the extra step to do it because it comes with a lot of responsibility. You have a better job, yeah, you run the farm, but it's a lot of responsibility for us, and some people are just afraid to do it. Because you have to have communication with your employees, you have to have, if you have somebody that doesn't do a good job or doesn't want to do it, you have to holler, it's communication with employees, but some people doesn't want to take the risk, or they'd rather milking cows or do something else. But I would say I see many people that the employee or the bosses wanted to give them a little more responsibility, and they don't want to do it because they're afraid, they're scared, they don't want to deal with people, and you see them with Hispanics a lot.
So I'd like to move on and talk a little bit about Hispanics in our communities and get on that role. Attitudes towards Mexican immigrants in our country can be unhealthy sometimes, but what are some positive changes that you guys have seen? And we'll start with you, Joaquin, and we'll go down the line. Positive changes you've seen in the community to be more accepting to cultural dynamics that involve Hispanics, whether this be at schools, and you can speak specifically to that, your wife's a teacher, and you as well, Ricardo, but what's going on in the community that are healthy, positive things for the integration of Hispanics in our culture?
Yeah, absolutely. That starting with the school part of it, I guess they have programs where for a child that comes to the U.S. no English, no nothing, they have a specific programs just for those type of kids. Help them out, get started, make them fit in, and help them out that way. Make them feel like at home, because it's very, very scary when you come, and he mentioned that already. You come to this place or to this country, and you don't know anybody. So you have to have people kind of help you feel more comfortable, and that's one of the things that I see in the schools, especially that my wife works as a teacher, and she also helps kids learn that language. You go to the stores, and it's kind of nice to see you got a specific aisle for Hispanic foods and stuff like that. So, you know, I think people are starting to understand that, you know, not all Mexicans are bad. You know, we're good people. We work hard, and you know, it's like everything else. You have a bad one, just like anything else. You know, but that doesn't mean that everybody is the same. But you know, as far as the community goes, you know, those are the type of things that I see so far.
There's a lot of bad U.S. citizens too. Ricardo, do you have any thoughts on, you went through the entire school system here in this country, and now you're in college. Have you seen things to help bridge that cultural divide between our cultures?
Oh yeah, even in a small town in Alma Center, yeah, not everybody is close-minded. I would say out of the people I've met, most people are very, very good people in the sense of they're open and accepting. In college, moving from a town of 400 people to a university where just the university alone has 12,000 to 11,000 people or students there, you see a lot more opportunities, and you see that they try to get the minorities involved a lot more. They have clubs that are just for the people wanting to learn more about other cultures. There's the Hispanic club, the Spanish club, there's multi-racial relationships clubs. There's a whole bunch of different things to try to get everybody involved and everybody working as one for the better of the community.
I mean, one of the things we can do as a community is work on trying to find more organizational type organized activities for that culture to help in rural areas of the state and country, for that matter, to help that culture fit more into our culture better. That makes some sense? Yeah. Nacho, do you have thoughts on those positive things?
Yeah, especially because like back in the 2000 or something, it was hard to go to the store and buy Mexican food. Now you can go to Walmart, you can go to Woodman's. There's a number of stores that have a lot of Mexican stuff, a lot of Mexican. So it makes it easier for us to get the food that we like, the stuff that we like. There's also been Mexican stores. There's more business. You started to see from 2000 or 2005 to now. You probably see a lot of more Mexican stores, Mexican restaurants. There's a lot more business in the area. Soccer. There's a soccer league in Eau Claire. There's a soccer league in Arcadia. There's things that only been there for like the last 5 years. So that's something good, and it makes it easier for the Hispanic to live around here, to get, to have a Mexican league, a high school league or something, soccer league or something that the kids can get involved playing or doing other things in the school. So I think that's going to help quite a bit.
And just to touch a little bit, there's something very important that I forgot to mention. You know, the 4-H club in Fond du Lac, they have started a for Hispanics, a 4-H club. You know, that's kind of a big deal. You know, that's a very good program. They just started not too long ago, so hopefully we can, get a lot of Hispanics kids involved in that club. You know.
Well, yeah, that comes back to more organized activities for that culture base, and that goes from everything from children all the way through the adults, and activities that can get the families together, because your culture is very family-centric. And I want to speak to that a little bit here. In your culture, you view different holidays differently than we do. Can we speak a little bit to the holidays that are more important to you, and in your culture, and what they mean to you? For example, Mother's Day. And what Christian holidays mean more to your families, and how you celebrate those things.
There's a few of them, and there's in my religion, I'm a Catholic, so
as is the lion's share of most Mexicans, Spanish Catholics.
Right. So there's a December 12th, that's Dia de la Virgen, Virgen de Guadalupe. That's kind of a, you know, for a lot of Hispanics, that's kind of a big deal. You know, you go back to Mexico, very rare you see Hispanics or Mexicans working on that day because they dedicate, you know, that day to the Virgin Mary. You know, El Dia de los Muertos. That's, you know, that's another big one. My kids are very young, so we're, you know, when we have these holidays, we try to explain to them what it means and why we do it, because, you know, in our case, you know, I don't want my kids to forget about their roots, you know. So, you know, it is very important to, when you're here in this country, obviously, you know, we're here, we gotta celebrate, you know, every holiday, you know, that this country has. But also, you know, in my opinion, it is very important to celebrate our culture as well. And it's more so for the kids, so they don't forget about their roots. So, you know, it's kind of a big deal for us to celebrate those type of holidays.
Mother's Day, Nacho.
Mother's Day, that's another big day in Mexico. It's May 10th, and it's always May 10th. It's always May 10th. That's another big holiday. I would say we won't celebrate other holidays like Mother's, El Dia de los Muertos, like you said, El Dia de la Virgen. There's probably those three.
Christmas.
Well, Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah, those three are probably one of the most that they get celebrated in Mexico. It's very, I don't know, I do it too. I celebrate Mother's Day, El Dia de los Muertos with my family and everything, but in Mexico we don't, like, they prefer to celebrate those 3 days instead of like New Year's or, you know, just.
And so one of the things that I think we as an employer workforce tend to forget sometimes is, well, we celebrate our holidays and recognize them, and we were guilty of it as well. We treat our holidays with double time or time and a half overtime, but yet we don't pay a lot of attention to their holidays. And when that's the lion's share of our workforce, I think it's important to capture some of that, because they mean significantly different things to you than they do to us. And they have different levels of importance on each of those given days. 4th of July means nothing to you. Nope. But to our culture, it does. So,
Turkey Day.
yeah, thanks to Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, yeah. Thanksgiving doesn't mean anything to you guys, whereas, you know, we're using that holiday as a major holiday for us. So I think one of the things we can do as an employer base is to look inside that culture and see what that means to them and how we can better accommodate that. So moving on a little bit, Ricardo, I'd like to touch with you. And your family has been in this country a long time and have assimilated in the community. Can you speak a little bit to how your family has fit into the community, and what has had to happen in your family for them to start their own company? And that second generation, your father's children, your generation, has now started businesses. And what did it take to do that and get there? What did your employers help you do to do that? And what did you guys as a family unit have to do that?
Well, first of all, it was for the rest of my family, it was learning English. And like I said, when you start working at a place where not many other Hispanics live, you tend to have a little bit more pressure to learn the things that you need to learn. I would say from all my siblings, out of the guys, only 3 of them actually went to high school for a little bit here. One of them being the second youngest, he graduated high school and went to a tech college. But other than that, everybody else had to learn English just by what they heard, what they needed to know. And the employers helped a lot by, first of all, providing the job for them. And in that job, my brothers or my family members would also meet a lot of other contacts they would probably carry throughout their careers. And my 3 brothers that started up their business, a transportation business, for them it was a lot of learning new things, learning the laws. There's a lot of stricter codes. Well, there are a lot of strict codes going into that business, and you just have to find out on your own because there's nobody really else to help them. They go to school to study business or to study anything to do with laws, that they need to do regulations, and that was a big barrier. Another barrier is that even how open most people are, there's still other people who, for example, in their business could deny them a loan just because they might not trust them because they're Hispanic or Mexican. There's just stuff like that that they know it exists, and you just have to get through it.
Thank you, Ricardo. Joaquin and Nacho, I want to ask you both here, since you have children. How do you think your career in ag impacts your children and their career goals? Will ag have an impact on your children, and how? And will that impact their careers?
Yeah, and actually, not just my children, but my wife and her side of the family, they're straight up city people. But here came Joaquin, the farmer, and I've been trying to educate them, and they know how hard farmers work, and they see the hours that the farmers put in and stuff. So they look at farming with a whole different perspective now. They understand it more, and as far as my children goes, I think by me working in this industry, there are so many opportunities in the dairy business that it's not just you're going to become a milker or a herdsman. There is a variety of things that you can do. By me working in the dairy industry, I think their future is a little brighter. They have a lot more options to choose from now because Dad is in the dairy industry.
Thank you, Joaquin, and Nacho, you too. You have kids in college.
Yeah.
So how did that impact their lives?
Well, I think when they're growing up, by taking it to the farm with me and showing, how hard it is to work in a farm and have them working in the farm and everything, and I think they just realize they need to go to school. I think they stay more focused and going to college and everything, because as Ricardo growing up next to the farm, started working at the farm. He was with his dad in the tractor when he was 10 years old, and doing the stuff in the farm. And I think your kids seeing how many hours you put a day, a week in the farm, I think they get more interested about going to college. At least that's with my kids. So far, I got one that graduated from college already, and one that's going to college in his first year in college, and the two second ones in high school, they also want to go to college. So I think it's just easier for me, for them, if they see what happens in the farm, how the industry works and everything, and so far they have decided to go to college, and I'm there to help them make sure they finish their career and move on with their lives.
So the common theme I hear from both of you, to all of you, is that the hard work that you put on the egg industry is very demonstrated to your children, no different than it was in our culture. So one of the things our cultures have in common is that we've seen our parents, how hard they work in the egg industry, and your children are seeing the same things and understanding those same values. Does that make sense? So I think one of the important things is for Hispanic children coming into, as we have a lot of Hispanic children now in schools and growing up here because of the major influx of Mexicans in this country, is that they still too want their kids to come on the farm, like I did with my parents and grandparents and so on and so forth. That you want that to be part of their life because it helps demonstrate work ethic. Is that correct? Make sense?
Yeah, that's absolutely it. I mean, you have to teach your kids that hard work pays off. You know what I mean? And you gotta work hard to get what you want. It's not everything handed to them. You gotta work hard. And I think the farm business, the egg business, they'll see that, especially like I said, with as far as my kids go, they see their dad, and how hard. And not just me, but we live in the farm, so they're constantly looking through the window and seeing other employees working and just you know, they have to get there in their little brains, I tell them, you know, that their responsibility, working hard, it's a big deal.
So we as employers have to be self-conscious to the idea that just like we want our children to thrive and strive, they too want the same things, and we can help facilitate that as employers.
Yeah, I think by have your kids work at the farm, and I have the one that's in college, and the weekends he comes home and he still goes to the farm and take care of fresh cows and, you know, feed calves and everything. And I think it helps them with their school, because they know how hard it's, you know, the responsibility of being in the farm, or being a farmer, or working. I mean, that's a big responsibility, because the cows have to get milk. You can't say, oh, today we're not going to milk them, or we'll milk them tomorrow. So no, it's a big responsibility. They got to get milk every day, so every 8 hours, and so you in my way, I think my kids see that, and I think makes them like wanting to go to college. Like that's my case with my kids. They want to go to school. They want to finish school.
I think that's a great point. I don't have any kids of my own, but seeing my dad be at his age, getting up every single morning. He works Monday through Saturday, and I work for him Sundays. And seeing him get up at 3:15 in the morning, getting ready, being at the farm at 3:45-ish, and then ending his day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. When I was young, I saw him driving the tractor, and like Nacho said, around 4 or 5 years old, it's not like he forced me to be in there. I always thought it was the coolest thing. Went and rode with him probably the entire day for most of the days. And when I was little, I saw that and my brothers driving semis, and that's all I saw. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be either a truck driver or a farmer. Then you start growing up, and at around 14, I started working at the farm. You start seeing that it's not just driving the tractors, it's not just driving the semis. There's actual physical work that you have to do. If it's icy outside or if it's snowing, the cows still got to be fed. They still got to be milked. At 14, 15, as a guy, you think that you're invincible and that you know everything because you're going through high school. But just one of the days, it was in the winter, probably 5-6 years ago. I was at the farm with my dad, and the silos, we all know that they're not, especially the bigger ones, they're not very little. They're pretty high up, and he told me that he needed help in the silo, and he went up there first, and then I followed right behind him. Well, in the wintertime, when you just start opening the silos up from the harvest, they're pretty high up there, and you have to climb all the way up there in a vertical staircase that's not the easiest to do. And I don't know, I thought it was pretty amazing that my dad at that age still did it. And when there were things wrong with the silos, he went up there probably 3-4 times up and down them. And just for me, it was amazing for that. But then I was just, I don't know, your hands get cold, your feet get cold, and
Impressed you. Impressed you with your dad to do.
But that also motivated me to, like my dad said, look at the bigger picture. Don't, just because you start getting a decent amount of money here, just try to go specialize in a job, go to college, find something that you like to do. If you like to do this, be a professional in the ag business. If you like driving semi, then go ahead, do that, but try to still get a career to fall on. And that helped me in the long run, and it's still helping me right now.
Well, Ricardo, I wanted to ask you that question specifically, that we have a major shortage of ag professionals in jobs, and as the baby boomer generation retires, there's going to be an even larger shortage of ag jobs, employees to fill those jobs. What do you, and there's a lot of vendors and employers in this room, what do those companies do to try to work with Hispanics, Mexicans, your age, children, descendants that were most certainly born here in this country, have that ag background? What can they do as companies to try to, for lack of a better term, encourage employment with them? Is there something that makes the company more attractive to you when you graduate in the ag sector? And if So what can that be? To bridge that gap, your culture, our culture, and the talents that you have in bilingual?
I would say the fields right now for jobs are very competitive, and offering benefits, a benefits package, decent pay, and those are all things that I think could improve in the ag business, and that would, for me, it just make it a lot more, it'd give me more of an incentive to go into the ag business. I'm seeing that me as an individual would get appreciated in there and get respected, but also have a good paying job to basically, I don't know, just kind of help say that going through college was worth it instead of just kind of going to any random job.
I want to note the comment you made about the benefit package right away. So you grew up in families with no health insurance because your employers didn't have health insurance. So one of the interesting concepts, the first thing that came to his mind was a benefit, because health insurance for your families is a challenge. I mean, your wife's a teacher, but until you're married, you don't reap those benefits, and you never had that either. You never had the benefit until you became a citizen of those things. So in the forefront of your head, your immediate response was a benefit. So we're looking at these Mexican children coming into the workforce. That's something that's been in their family's forefront. Does that make some sense, John?
Yeah.
Because you never had health care.
No.
And that's an expensive proposition for you with lots of children. And for you as you continue to grow your family down the road.
In the university, it's my first year there, and in all the classes, I had a personal finance class. It's a gen ed, and we had a presenter from Venezuela Lutheran and hospitals, and he was just kind of talking about how most of these issues that he's talking about right now, and he was talking about health insurance, probably didn't relate too much to us because we were all covered by our parents' health insurance. But I was just sitting there kind of thinking in my head, not all of us, but.
So I just wanted to note that. I thought that was a very relevant comment you made. So we got about 9 minutes left in this window. I'd like to open the floor for questions. Go ahead.
Food is a big part of the culture. Are there foods that are just not available in this country that you really wish you could get?
So the question was asked that foods are a major part of your culture. Are there certain foods and foodstuffs you just can't get in this country?
Right now, you can get pretty much everything. There's probably a few things, fruits or stuff that you can't find in here, but for the most part, between Walmart's or Woodman's and other stores are getting together that they pretty much have everything you need now.
In the last 5 years, you've seen
Yeah, the last 5 years, it's amazing how fast the stores started to get, Mexican food, everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and most of you might know this, but, the Hispanics, the tamales are kind of the big meal. I was going to make a comment before when, as far as the holidays and stuff, we do celebrate Thanksgiving, but we don't eat turkey, we eat tamales. So, but no, it's unbelievable how much stuff you can find in the supermarket stores. It's awesome that.
Right now, you can even buy tamales in the stores.
Yeah, it's
They don't taste very good.
Yeah, not the greatest, but just another small comment on there that when my dad first got here, not in the U.S. but Wisconsin, it's in one of the most northernmost states, and he used to have to drive probably 55 minutes or so to a town named Toma, and that's the only place you could find half of the things that he wanted. Him and my mom wanted. Now we can drive 15, 20 minutes to where I was born, Black River Falls. It's just a town of 3,000 people, and you can find probably 90% of the things he wants there.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Sure, so the question was, she asked Nacho what his process was to gain citizenship.
When I got my resident, you have to, once you get your resident, you have to wait 5 years before you can apply for your citizenship. In my case, I had my resident for 10 years. And after 10 years, I feel confident that I can do the citizenship. So I applied for the citizenship.
By confident, you need to pass the tests and all.
To do the test, yeah, confident. And I think English way, you have to understand what they're telling you, because they take you and they ask you questions. For the citizenship, there's 120 questions that you have to study. Doesn't mean they're gonna ask you those 120, they only ask you 10. But you don't know which ones they're gonna ask. So you have to study all the questions. It's not that hard. All I did, fill out the application, I sent it in, and they sent me an appointment, and I went and did one thing, and then 2 weeks later, I went and did the other thing, and I was done.
And now what did that mean to you to get your citizenship?
It means a lot for me because not only because I don't have to renew it anymore, the resident, but it's just to accomplish to be a USA citizen. It's a big thing for me. I can retire and get the benefits from working all these years in the farm.
You saying you might actually see Social Security?
Yeah, I might get to see some Social Security. Yeah.
I think that the hardest part of the process is not resident to be legal in the country, and I was lucky enough to have been born in this great nation. But see, my brothers, they all came here legally, but their wives, when they got married in Mexico, and they had to come up here and leave their wives down there for a while. And one of my brothers, named Jorge, it took him, when he filed for the residency of his wife, it was 8 years or so to hear back.
And your other brother?
And then two or three of the other brothers, they filed for the residence of their wives, and it was, for one of them, it was 8 months or so, another one was a year. And so that's the major difference.
It's different, and this is almost the same time frame. So it's different for everyone, and you're in the middle of it right now, correct?
Yeah, and it's definitely not something that you can say, okay, people say, well, why don't you just become a resident? It's not as easy as it sounds. There's a process that you have to follow. There's a lot of money involved. A couple $1,000 involved. Make sure you hire a good lawyer. And in my case, I'm afraid to go back to Mexico, and unfortunately, that includes, in my process, that includes